I'd love to welcome all of you to today's webinar. It's co-presented by WebEngage, Cequens, and Meta, and we'll be talking about how to maximize ROI through AI-fueled omni-channel marketing stack. AI is definitely the buzzword that all of us have been hearing, and every time somebody thinks that it's a bubble and it's about to burst, a new update comes, a new development happens, and a new use case opens up, and we'll be talking all about that today. A very quick introduction for me. I am Harshit. I take care of events and communicate WebEngage. I'm based here in India and I take care of events across the globe for us. We have some of our partners from across the globe here, Cequens and Meta, and we'll be learning more about them today. Uh, for our first speaker, I'd love to call upon one of our colleagues from the Middle East office. We have Zafar, who's the Director of Solution Engineering for WebEngage, and he'll be talking about the power of AI in omni-channel marketing. Zafar is known to be funny in his own ways, and I hope you love the conversation that follows. If there are some questions that come your way, please put them in the chat and we'll take up. Awesome. Zafar, over to you. Can I please welcome you on stage?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Harshit. Let me know if everyone can see my screen, if my screen is visible.
Yes, please. Please present it. We're just waiting for that.
There you go. Let me know if you can
Superb.
see my screen.
Yes, very
Perfect.
much so. Go ahead.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Good afternoon. So, let's talk about AI. AI, because AI is everywhere, right? Every time you discuss something, everyone is talking about, okay, the solution for this or if to overcome this challenge, AI, we can fix all of these problems or challenges, right? And across the industries, especially in robotics, in finance, in education, in automotive, AI is something that is heavily being used, right? And one of the fields I would say AI that is being used heavily is the omni-channel marketing. So in this session, I'm not going to be talking about robotics and healthcare or whatever. I will be focusing more on the omni-channel execution or omni-channel marketing. Okay. But before I start talking about the AI in general, I just want to give you a brief about what has changed in omni-channel world, right? Because earlier, like a few decades ago, everything was much simple, right? So let's say, to give you an example, if you would like to buy a shoe, what would you do? So you would go to a store, check out the shoe, and then try it on. And if you like it, you just buy it, right? And in some cases, if you're lucky, you might reach out through the phone calls, or the sales agents can call you. And there was email channel, right? I remember like 16, 17 years ago, when I started in this specific domain, it was all about email. And email marketing was one of the top, the technologies or the solutions, right? That time it was super famous. So what has changed? A lot of things have changed, right? We have lots of channels now. So if you look at a business or a brand, they're selling their products and services on their websites. So they have physical stores, they have mobile applications, they retarget customers on social media, they list their products and services on marketplaces, different marketplaces. And apart from these, there are many engagement channels such as email, SMS, and push notification, all those website personalization. There are many channels, right? And which is great. I mean, if you look at from the customer perspective, it's great. So we have more options if you are looking to buy any product or services. But from the brands, from the business perspective, it's a bit complex, right? Because the things have become complex because of all these various channels. So the omni-channel. So if you look at the businesses, the businesses or the brands who are focusing on omni-channel strategies, they will definitely see that as an accelerator for their business growth, right? And I'm not talking about only you can sell your products and services across different channels. That is fine, but it is important how you connect all these channels, right? And just want to share you some statistics around this, the companies who are, properly executing the omni-channel, right? So if you're a business, if you're a brand who who is providing the integrated experience, or I would call it connected experiences to your customers are more likely to keep buying from you, okay? And they will become loyal because they love you. And the thing is, if you make them happy, if you provide them the best experience, then why would you go, right? You will stick to the brand. The other thing is that like from my previous example earlier, you would go to a physical store, you buy your shoe, and then that's it, right? But the buying behavior or the purchasing behavior has changed because there are many channels. So if you want to buy something, and so it takes 3 to 4 different channel engagement for a customer to buy one product or let's say services as well, right? And the companies who are utilizing all these channels, different channels, right, they will see more revenue, more purchases, right, compared to the companies who are only leveraging the single channels. And of course, with all of these, they will definitely, the brands who are properly executing omni-channel strategies, they will see higher average order value, they will see higher customer lifetime value, and at the end of the day, because all the businesses they want to make profit, they want to make revenue, higher, more revenue, right? So at the end of the day, they will have more retention. So that means the existing customers, the customers who are retained, they will keep buying from the same brand, right? Um, okay, you might ask me, so where does AI come into the play? Okay, so if you're omnipresent, the best or the first thing that you have to focus is the customer experience. You have to provide the best, excellent, superior customer experience because we are all human, right? And we are a customer of different brands. And if you have the best experience from that specific brand, you would keep, buying their products and services, right? You will become a loyal customer. And so because of the complexity, because of many channels are included, right? There are many channels that we have been talking about. And that's where AI comes into the play or comes into the picture. So what if I say, okay, you know what? I can predict each of your customers, individual customers' next step, what they're going to like. Are they going to buy from you? Are they going to, are they going to be buying from a specific category, or are they going to be buying a specific product? What if I say, okay, I can predict this, okay? Or what if I say, I have a clear understanding of your all customers on what they might like, or what they might dislike, okay? And the other thing is there are many channels, right? There are many channels. There's email, SMS, push. I'm talking about the engagement channels, right? How would you guess, like, okay, what is the right channel to reach out to these customers? Because each of the customers, they have different preferences, right? But it's important to identify what is the best channel for these individual customers. Similar to the channel, what about the timing? Maybe I don't like receiving emails after 6 p.m., right? Maybe Harshit or someone else, they like receiving push notifications after working hours, maybe 11 p.m., right? We don't know that. And we are not talking about a guess here. So we don't want the marketeers to do guesswork here. So AI will definitely help to predict all of these. Who to target, basically, who to reach out, the target audience, with their all, the interest, and also their preferred channel, which channel is the best to engage. Again, I'm talking about individual customers, not batch customers, right? And what is the right time to reach out to these? So AI can definitely automate. AI can definitely help businesses across these, right? And the last piece is basically, you know who to target, and you know which channel to target, and you know the right time for the communications or the engagements, right? But what about the content? Because the content should be relevant, right? Even if you implement all of these, you know the right audience, you know when or where to reach out. But if the content is not relevant, then there is no point, right? Because the customers will not be able to, interact or engage through that channel, through that content, because it's not relevant for them. So, I mean, this is in a nutshell what AI can help when it comes to omni-channel marketing, right? But before doing that, there's one thing that I would like to talk about, which is basically the unified profile of your customers. Because um, without this, even AI cannot help you, right? Even AI cannot help you with this. So you have to, the first thing that you have to do is to have customer 360 view. And in my words, I call it understanding the customers. So when I say understanding the customers or having the holistic view of customers, I mean collecting everything about that specific customer, what they are doing on the website, what they are doing, what actions they are taking on the website or mobile application. Are they visiting specific products? Are they interested in specific categories? Or are they visiting or buying products and services from, let's say, your physical stores as well? Or it could be they might be not happy with your overall experience and they might be calling the call center to raise a complaint, right? Again, this interaction or this data point should also be collected. Once you have this, it is consolidated and unified in a centralized place. And then AI can help you with all of this. Even a single data source, data point that is missing, let's say the offline, then the overall experience will be broken. It will be disconnected. And with that, even AI will not be able to help you. So we call it three P's of AI in omnichannel marketing: prediction, performance, and personalization. So the prediction is basically, okay, because earlier days, everything was starting with campaigns, right? But now, since we are talking about data-driven marketing, it should be the data who should tell us who to target. So that's why it's important that AI can help us to predict those target audiences. And how are they going to help us with this? So I give one example, like we can, or the AI can predict the next moves, the next best action of individual customers, right? So if they are most likely to buy a certain product, or if they are most likely to buy a certain product from a specific category as well, or if they are least likely to take any action, or it could also be there could be some customers who are likely to churn, let's say, in the next couple of weeks or a month, right? So that's where AI comes into the play and it helps you to create those audiences, okay? So we know the answer of who, okay? And the next thing is the performance, we call it. Okay, what is the right channel to reach out to these audiences? And as I mentioned earlier, each individual or the customer, they will have their own preferences, right? And again, here, AI can help us with identifying what is the best channel for each of these customers and what is the right time to reach out or to engage with these customers. And the last one is quite important, because even if you know who to target and when and where to target, the most critical piece, in my opinion, it is the content, right? Content is very important. Even if you know everything of the audience, when and where to target, without the relevant content, it doesn't make sense, right? The story will not be completed, because it's actually the content which is taking the attention of the users or the customers, and which will eventually help you with the conversions, right? And again, AI can help you with hyper personalization, and I will be showing you some examples from Amazon as well. And so AI can definitely help you because it's processing a vast amount of data, right? And it knows everything about each individual customers. So the personalization, and we are not talking about like first name, last name personalization here. We are talking about full customization, full personalization on each channel, It could be website, it could be mobile application, or it could be engagement channels as well. With the Gen AI, I mean, you and I use the Gen AI to create presentations, to get some, new text, videos, or like presentations as well. But I will not be focusing more on this because I will let Tamer and the rest of the speakers to talk about the generative AI. Okay, so what are the current trends? Because there are many things happening around the omnichannel marketing, the solutions. So if you ask me to list, okay, what are the recent components of the AI which can help businesses to achieve their targets and increase their revenue, right? So the first one would be definitely the predictive analytics. So yes, we are not talking about reports here. We are not talking about the actual analytics here, but AIs can help you with predictive analytics. Like if these users or the customers are high likely to churn, right? If they're high likely to buy from a certain product or from a certain category. And that will help you to have actionable insights so that the marketing people, they can create relevant audiences, right? So that's how AI can help us with finding the right audience. And the second one is the personalization. I will be showing you one example, recommendation engine. I mean, I'm sure you can tell me that, okay, I mean, recommendation engines are there for a long time, right? I remember even 15 years ago, there was recommendation engines, but they are evolved as well. They are improved as well. So right now, they're super smart, which I will be showing one example. Dynamic content personalization, providing the experience, personalizing the whole experience on the website, personalizing the content of a mobile application. So that's how AI can help you with that as well. Campaigns and automation. We spoke about the best time to reach out to individual customers, best channel to reach out to customers, and this is quite interesting. And some of the vendors, some of the solutions, they started to provide, they started to offer this, which is automated customer journeys. To give you an example, so as a marketeer, let's say you have one use case, right? And around the upsells, or it could be cross sells as well. So what you basically do is you create a journey manually. But what you can do is you can ask AI to create the full workflow for you, including all the steps, all the actions, and all the channels for the engagements. So this is quite cool as well. Generative AI, I will let these other speakers talk on this more. Predictive content creation, personalized email subject lines. What is the best subject line for a specific campaign? Creative optimization. So if you are running an ad on social media or any other channel, then what is the right asset? So some customers or some users, they will be interested in seeing text ads. Some of them will be interested in images, or some of them will be interested in videos. Again, AI can help you to identify what is the right asset to use for that purpose. Chatbots and conversational AI, I think we're going to have a discussion around that. Sentiment analysis to see if your customers are happy. There are some surveys happening, and if you're using any social listening solutions, then AI can help you to identify, okay, this customer is frustrated, this customer is happy or unhappy. And voice assistants, AI-driven voice recognition is one of the trends in omnichannel marketing when it comes to AI. So a few more minutes. I have two examples just to show you. Amazon, I love it. I love this brand because they're amazing. The experience that I've had so far, it's amazing. And I'm sure most of the people, they use Amazon. And did you know that Amazon is one of the first, or maybe the first company who has started using product recommendations? So every time you visit one of the page to check for a specific product, they show you related products. And it is so powerful for each of the individual, each of the user, they show different related products based on the historical data. And Amazon is one of our maybe the best companies or the brands, I would say, that is using AI and which they have their own recommendation engine to do upsells and cross sells on their website and mobile application. So this is going to be my last slide, I guess, and I just want to show you this example. I'm not sure if you have seen this TV series. It's Peaky Blinders. It's an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, please, I suggest you to go and check it out. And so on Netflix, if you go to Netflix, you will see the covers of the TV shows, dramas, movies, and so on, right? And the Peaky Blinders cover, so this is the one that you see on the screen. It is not the actual cover. So the actual cover, there is Cillian Murphy, which is the main character. But this guy, Paul, he is so obsessed with this lady, Anya Taylor-Joy. I mean, I don't know him. I just watched her on this TV series because he has been chasing, he has been looking for this lady, and he has seen the movie Queen's Gambit, right? When he goes to Netflix, instead of the Peaky Blinders main actual cover, he sees this lady, but he hasn't seen this movie. So you see how smart it is. So Netflix know that this guy is very interested in this lady because he's watching these movies and so on. Instead of using the actual cover, they're using another cover just to take the attention of the user. And then what will happen? This guy hasn't seen the movie or the TV series. He will just click and go and watch it, right? This is how you interact. This is how you personalize, do the one-to-one personalization in one of the channels. So I am not quite sure if I exceeded my times.
I think you're right on time. Thank you, superb insights offer. I think Netflix really has cracked how to, get you from finishing an 8 season series and right after that getting you hooked to the next one because of all the
Exactly.
things you replayed, all the things that you paid attention to. So absolutely, Netflix has got us all on that. Thank you so much. Once again, I'd like to quickly present my screen and get everybody excited about the next session, which is leveraging AI for data-driven decision making. We have Tamer, who is the Director of Global Pre-Sales and Customer Solutions from Cequens, and he'll be talking about Gen AI and data-driven decision making. I'm looking forward to your insights and examples, Tamer. Over to you.
Thank you, Harshad. And thank you, Zafar, for the very, very nice content. Yani, it's really an eye-opener, and we keep just getting amazed with how technology is changing and what are the impact on our daily lives, even if we don't notice it. I want to quickly start by sharing my screen. Please just confirm to me that you can see it so that we can kick it off.
We're live, all good.
Okay, perfect. So I think what is really present in our day-to-day life is how much we want to keep using things, how much do we keep changing the, let's call it the engagement journey between businesses and customers. And every single time there's a new generation of technology, it changes the perspective. Because Zafar mentioned a very nice story about how things changed between the 90s and today. Now, if we take that to what has been happening in the last year, it's a drastic change for everyone, literally, because on every day-to-day life, you're seeing a huge advanced technological changes that's impacting not only businesses, but also consumers and customers together at the same time. I don't want to take a lot of time on going into too much details, but I want to start with literally talking about the basics. And the basics always started with what businesses want and what customers want. So what businesses want, they always wanted the personalized approach. You go to a place because you're friends with the owner, you're friends with the people. You like going there because they give you the attention. So this personalization, the empathy, the choice, the convenience is what governs people's choices. This is how people like to keep moving with brands. From businesses side, it's more important about profitability. They're not opening a business just to make sure that people are happy, but they want to make money from it. They want to make sure that they have a loyal customer base. It's continuing and it's retaining its customers. And they also and always want to expand. They want to expand locally, they want to expand regionally, and they want to expand globally. How do they increase their market share? How do they increase their customer base? Having said that, let's move to the next point. This is one of the most favorite slides that I have, and I like to talk about it a lot. I hope I don't spend too much time going there. If we look at the modern customer journey, in every perspective, it's an infinite loop. And that infinite loop applies to every single customer business, not only retail, not only finance, it goes across the board. And we think about it in a different, let's call it a short term. Let's learn about lead, convert, retain. As simple as we want to make sure that we have the right leads, we want to make sure that we have the highest conversion, and we want to make sure that we retain our customers. If we dissect this stage or these stages across the entire journey, we start with the lead part. And from lead, we want to make sure that we target the right people. And there were two different approaches in marketing back in the days. One was a complete spray shooting, which is mass communication, no personalization, nothing whatsoever. You just push as much content as you can online, regardless if it's one of the legacy channels or as much as you can penetrate the market and see what works. And that's the old way. But the new way is we want to be precise targeting. And precise targeting means personalization. I want to make sure that I target the right profile. I want to make sure that I target the ideal customer profile. From there, we build into the consideration part, which is before we get into the conversion, before we get to the moment of truth. In consideration, people are researching the content. They are researching the products that they want to see. No one does impulsive shopping anymore, let's call it. They want to make sure that they do the right choice at the right time, and they want to make sure that they choose the right product. In order to do that, we want to be there for the customers at their channel of choice, which means if I'm considering an item, I want the business to be there for me at my preferred channel, not at business's preferred channel. I want to be there to be able to see the reviews. I want to get the insight to support. I want to chat with other people who use that product before. And this is where people start gathering all of the information. Being there as a business and the channel of choice for the customer, what makes all the difference? Because what customers are demanding from businesses today, are they enforcing them to be available at every single social presence platform, not only socially, but as a business, to make sure that they are there to answer their queries and to help them cover it. Once we move to the moment of truth, to the purchase, how does this actually impact me? How does this technology do that? And from there, we start looking into the customer trying to make that choice, and they are at the moment of truth, but then we start seeing recommendations. And the recommendations can be either for cross-selling or for upselling. We want to make sure that we are targeting the right content for the right people. You want to make sure that the product recommendations that you're pushing for either a cross-sell or an upsell are consistent with the customer journey, with the ideal customer profile. You're not going to push parental content, for example, like diapers, milk, children for single people. You want to make sure that you target it for the right people. You want to make sure that you push the right content at the right time. This way, people, when making the right choice, at the moment of truth, they're always excited to understand, how are you saving me more money while I'm doing this purchase? How am I getting the best deal that I can from the cross-sell and the upsell? Moving to the retain part, which is the loyalty side. The loyalty side is about customer engagement and customer care. Why do I say engagement and care? Because every single time that I open a ticket, I want to have a review, I have an inquiry, I want to make sure that the business is there for me to take care of my issues. The days of picking up the phone and calling a call center, and every single time a new agent answers, you need to explain all over again from this point, that's not how things are working today. You want to make sure that your profile is properly defined. Every single time that you reach out to follow up on a recent incident, your customer care agents are aware of this. That's why we are making sure that every single possibility around the 360, the customer profile is there. It's also capable of having virtual assistant. That's what the technology is supporting us. If you want to have voice-enabled assistants, it's there. If you want to have a text-based assistant, it's there. If you want to have automation, it's there. If you want to talk to a real person, it's there. And again, from my choice, my preferred channel of choice, which helps me move forward with the journey and to make sure that I have a complete customer journey and the customer experience. Moving past that, I want to summarize this slide in a couple of use cases that we have experienced. a really big retailer in the region. And what we have done with them is we embedded Gen AI into their platform according to the channel of choice, where customers are actually during the actual purchase, while they're adding items to cart, system is also automatically understanding the huge data that was there. And we're talking thousands and thousands of invoices daily. It understands this, it does the correlation, and it starts recommending products accordingly. From there, we found that the accuracy that was exceeding 90% of accurate product recommendation, either for cross-sell and even upsell, was amazing. This is how we managed to increase the ticket size per customer, and we made sure that customers are always there because they love the experience that's happening. Another case that we had is there was also a multinational company in the region that was interested in making sure that they do proper targeting more. And this is where we introduced, through the Gen AI, image analysis. And from image analysis, they understand the customer profile better, and then they can start building promotional content around the profiles for those customers. And they do targeting real time with their customers accordingly. And the results that they're seeing with this is literally amazing. So if we summarize all of those cases together, we see personalization is definitely the key. We want to predict the next best action. And when we say next best action, it's regardless of where the customer is. It's their channel of choice. How they interact with the business, this what governs the next step. And we want to be able to take care of that faster than before. And we able to adapt during real time. If I'm pushing a campaign today and I'm seeing the engagement or the conversion rate from that campaign is not up to the standard that I want to have from that campaign, this gives me the possibility to understand what's going right, what's not going right, and how to adapt and change real time. Last but not least, let's not forget, Gen AI is mostly about personalization. We want to be able to process large amounts of data in real time. And this is what gives an edge across everything else. From there, I want to talk a little bit quickly, briefly, on the capabilities of Gen AI today. The capabilities of Gen AI is one, you want to reuse the right model for the right task. And when we look at the customer journey today, when we look at marketing today, we see how can Gen AI actually help with this is about breaking down the big problem into smaller tasks. And this is how they actually start adapting and making the choice of using the right model for the right task. If I'm looking at text generation or text handling, it's not the same model like I want to use it for image processing. It's not the same one that I use for example, cognitive services and so on. And from there, as a customer, you have the availability for multi-choice of different models available at your fingertips. And you make sure that instead of having a huge prompt designed just to take care of one specific task, you break it down into smaller chunks. And from there, you are very specific on what to do next. Next, we have something called the knowledge base. And from knowledge base is about how customers or how organizations define their own data. Let's say about, for example, account opening procedures or refund processes or any of the delivery policies that customers or businesses might have in place. If all of this content is available for you as an enterprise and customers are being targeted for this, you want to make sure that you're able to take care of the questions that are coming in. This is where knowledge base comes in. Next, we have integrations, which take care of integrating with your backend system, and you want to make sure that we close the loop. If I'm talking to a customer, I need to understand the 360 of that customer, either if it's a new lead or if it's an existing customer as well. From there, everything is bundled under one big studio for you to orchestrate and build either, for example, add channel of preference, chatbot engagement experiences, or embed workflows or AI-driven processes within the organization itself. Marketing in general, when they want to make sure that a campaign is run, they want to go through all of this together. They want to make sure that data is up to date. They want to use the right models, and they want to target the right customers and build the right ICP or the right ideal customer profile from there. Last but not least, a phrase that I always love to keep using. Customers are not loyal to brands. They are loyal to experiences. We want to make sure that our businesses are up to the standard because that's what they keep pushing forward, and they always want the best and nothing but the best. That's it from my side. I hope I didn't talk too much. If there are any questions, we'll be more than happy to take them in the chat. Thank you, guys. Harshit, back to you.
Yes, super. Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you for sharing that. I think super insightful and very crisp session. I absolutely love how you concluded on the entire journey, right from knowledge base to the studio of engagement. I think with that, I'd love to uh, take the stage to Renisha, who comes from Meta, and I think Meta has been at the forefront of AI and using it for business growth. So, Renisha, without further ado, let's talk about harnessing AI for advertising and business. I know we got a chance to look at some of your slides, and I'm really excited to actually see you deliver them and talk to them about us. So, yeah, over to you.
Thanks, Harshit. I'm really excited to be here and share more about AI at Meta and the emerging opportunities for business. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
So at Meta, when we talk about AI products for businesses, everything that we do is in the service of building valuable connections between businesses and consumers, which means that for businesses, it means maximizing performance by using Meta's data, AI, ads, and measurement tools. And of course, being able to connect meaningfully with their customers through our surfaces, which means our apps or the formats that we provide. So we're all about how can we help businesses grow, and everything that we do in terms of product and how we go to market around this central principle. Now, AI has been very pivotal to this work, and frankly, we've barely scratched the surface on this, but we're really excited about the possibilities that AI can bring, especially to Meta's business, which is largely advertising, and now we're also moving into business messaging. So one few ways in which AI is already being useful to Meta and its users. One, we create safer experiences for people and businesses. For example, almost all of the hate speech, so about 95% of hate speech is removed by AI and automation. We build more meaningful connections and relevant experiences for people by having nearly half of the content and posts that you see on Facebook or Instagram literally recommended by AI. So that's how much AI plays an important role in what you see on our platforms. And this, of course, means that it results in better performance for businesses because now people have good experiences, more relevant experiences on the platform. They're able to engage better. And so what we've seen with Meta Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. So a quick side note, whenever you hear Meta Advantage Plus or Meta Advantage, it usually means that we're incorporating AI into that particular campaign or feature. So for businesses who turned this particular campaign on, they actually saw a 22% increase in their return on ad spend on average. So it's already showing some really impressive results for businesses on the ground. And we essentially rely on three key layers in order to be able to deliver AI products to businesses. One, we're investing really heavily in infra, right? So we're building AI-specific data centers. We are building our own custom AI chips, actually, because the processing that's needed for these for these operations on AI is so significant that we actually feel the need to make a more committed investment towards that. Secondly, this results in a lot of modeling improvements. So, of course, on our AI models, we're able to deliver and deploy tools and technologies that use AI on a larger scale. And this culminates into, of course, delivering experiences. So AI can give you great insights and results on what to show, but if you're not showing them to people in the right way, then you're actually missing the mark on actually having a really amazing experience that translates to a business outcome. So from a long-term perspective, we're looking at two elements. One, artificial general intelligence, which for most of us, I think the most common thing that we think of is ChatGPT when we talk about AGI. And with AGI, it's about AI that is similar to human capabilities. So think about reasoning or coding or memory or cognitive abilities. So getting as close to that as possible. Of course, it's going to be a long way for us to go there, but we're already whatever we've seen already today is quite impressive already. And so we're making a lot of investments in AGI. It also powers a lot of our ads experiences, which I'll talk about soon. And then there's a longer term bet, which is, of course, the metaverse. So with AI, how it plays into the metaverse is it helps build or create connections as well as enable creative collaboration in Horizon, as well as if you've heard of the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, it creates that enhanced sense of presence. So that's how we're seeing it play into the experiences that you're able to deliver through AR, VR as well. So this is the long-term vision. What we're looking for in terms of how we build, right? And the principles on which we build are these four. One is human potential. So we believe AI should be accessible to everyone in order to make their lives better and more easier for them to be able to get stuff done very easily. And so everything that we build around tech, given the fact that a lot of people are very used to and familiar with Meta's platforms like WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, we believe that we're uniquely positioned and privileged to be able to deliver these technologies to people to make their lives better. Secondly, integrated experiences. So we want to be able to integrate text, video, audio, images through a seamless set of inputs and outputs to be able to create, a really optimal outcome that you're looking for. So today that's possible through creative generation using AI, but the next phase would be almost the ability to be able to, predict how a human being, so an individual user, perceives their world and deliver an experience that is so unique to them and super relevant to them. So that's going to be probably ages out, but yeah, we're looking to, in the interim, as we progress, to build a new class of AI experiences for people that businesses can use in order to be able to reach consumers reliably and when they need to, right? So we've always talked about the best kind of marketing is the right message at the right place at the right time through the right channel. And that's exactly what AI can potentially do if it's able to reliably predict what people want and when they want. Something that's really important is we believe it's important to be open when we build. And what this means is we need to be able to share our learnings on AI because it's so new, it's evolving. There isn't a common framework or standard yet. And so we need to be able to, one, share what we do through common frameworks like PyTorch, even OpenAI uses this, and also to be able to collaborate with businesses or advertisers who are actually using these products that we build to check with them if it's actually valuable or not. So being open and in our approach is super important to us. And finally, as the last principle, we need to build responsibly. So in the ways in which we develop and roll out tools, we're always looking to, one, be transparent about how and what we're building. So we usually, with any new update, we usually have system cards like these, which show a user exactly what the system can do. And we're trying to make these as simple and easy to understand for anyone. So it's not a complicated set of legal terms, etc. It's an easy way for people to understand it. And then, of course, what we do is we also work very closely with governments, with regulators, with experts, advocates in this space, as well as other companies investing in AI to be able to come and discuss and build out common standards. If you want to know more, we've also published a responsible use guide, which we launched during launch of Llama 2, which talks about some of these principles. So those are the principles, but what does this mean in terms of actual products? You may have seen Meta AI in a lot of our platforms. So in Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, you would have seen this already. So we launched it as a consumer update first, because at the end of the day, marketers are also consumers. And a lot of what we do, however, lives on that intersection between what users find valuable and what businesses can find as levers to grow. And so we're always trying to, one, bring those two journeys together. So this is our Meta AI, which is powered by our large language model called Llama, which is currently in 3.1. And currently we believe that it's one of the smartest virtual assistants that's out there. And anyone can use this. It's to you can just ask questions, you can expand your knowledge. Imagine a world where, you could you speak with a business and get support very instantly, and something that's really natural, and doesn't require you to, change the way you speak, for example. So that's the experience that we want. And coming to businesses, of course, some of the things that we do are with Meta Advantage, which I talked about before. So just to give you a sense of what this means in actual numbers, on average, we do these ROAS studies every year. On average, we found that every dollar that an advertiser invests in Meta, they drive about $3.71 in return on their ad spend. But with AI, we've seen this actually go up further to 4.52 X, right? With the Advantage Shopping Plus campaigns. So as an advertiser, you can use AI to kind of automate some part or all of the parts of your campaign across creative, budget, destination, the placement, or even your audience, your targeting itself. And where we're coming up here with creative diversity, which is really, I think, one of the most visible and recognizable applications of AI, which is to say, you can use AI to generate images. And of course, with advertising, you need to constantly have better creatives. And oftentimes, creative becomes the one variable which can actually change how your campaign performs, right? So you want to be able to generate a lot of variations in your creatives. And the ideal state would probably be that I, Ranisha, as a user, find or find myself, looking at an ad which is so personalized to me, which I respond to the best way possible versus someone else, right? So that one-to-one kind of creative. And so what we have today is these kind of tools through which you can, of course, generate images. You can generate like text prompts. You can overlay text and images. You can like add backgrounds to your product images as well. So we're seeing this in practice already with some brands like Fresh, who've used this to actually build out really diverse creatives, and they're already seeing great results in terms of 42% incremental conversions by using these variations, which are powered by AI. And lastly, I think this is fairly early stage, but we're really excited because AI for business messaging and the intersection of the two is where we believe this will drive really amazing experiences for businesses who want to consult with customers about what products they're looking for, or to provide support to them. And we can, of course, do this 24/7 with AI. You don't really need a human person at the back of it, right? So we're doing limited testing right now, which have started last year, and we're still continuing because obviously this takes time, and we want to work through a lot of use cases before we can launch this. At a high level, this is the roadmap. Meta Advantage available widely today. Everyone can use it. We have the Advantage Plus Creative with generative AI. which I showed you in terms of generating creatives. We've done a launch already, but we're expanding the rollout and hopefully gonna end by the end of the year, we should have it fully rolled out globally. And finally, AI for business messaging is the latest initiative, which we will be testing. We'll be expanding rollout, but some more news on that will come. And with that, that's all I had for today. I'm excited to learn more about what you found interesting about this presentation and any more questions you might have. Thank you.
Super. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rinisha. I'm going to quickly change the spotlight. Thank you so much. People, I am sure that was super exciting for everyone else also on this call. If you want to know something specific so far about the presentations done, please drop them in the chat and we will take them in the Q&A. As last part of today's conversation, I'd love to bring on stage Melissa, who's the marketing director for Cequens, and she'll be moderating a very interesting conversation with our panelists, the very folks you've just spoken with. And we'll be talking about the future of AI, and we'll be talking about some strategies and some things to look out for. I request all speakers to probably unmute themselves, and Melissa, you can take it from here.
Thank you, Harshit. Thank you so much for that introduction. Welcome, everyone, to a fireside chat. Today's fireside chat is more focused on the intersection of AI and the entire omni-channel marketing experience. You have all heard from the entire industry panel experts, right? That even when it comes to AI, there are like pointers which we always focus on. One of the important things which Zafir mentioned was how we look overall in terms of personalization across AI. Then I think Tame developed a little bit more into it that, with Gen AI coming in, we are present across omni-channel experiences, right? From your WhatsApp to your Facebook into across channels is where Gen AI can be available. And then comes Renisha, Renisha, I think a very important pointer which you mentioned was experience. How's your experience across each of these panels, across each of these channels? Which is so important. And that's why in today's panel discussion, I want to bring out like the insights on how AI is actually helping us all transform and engage better with our customers. And to pick first, my question is for you, Renisha, when it comes to Meta. I know that, gone are the days when we were using SMS. Everybody has moved now to WhatsApp. Everybody's using different social media platforms. I want to know how Meta is actually looking at AI to fit really well into these channels and also look at optimizing different advertising campaigns, right? Because from when you look at the modern technology in terms of marketing, people prefer everything to be on these channels. So what's that what Meta is looking at?
Thanks, Melissa. So of course, with Meta, we have some of the largest messaging apps like WhatsApp, Instagram Direct, and Facebook Messenger, and those are channels that we're promoting heavily for business messaging because obviously we own those channels, and we believe that given the fact that people are so familiar with those channels, they're probably the best places where businesses and consumers can connect and actually get their work done. So in terms of optimizing advertising campaigns or marketing campaigns across these channels, what we've done is, of course, like I mentioned, we've allowed for businesses to automate some portion of that. So what that means is you can generate creatives differently for your campaigns, which could be run on Facebook or Instagram. So those are ad campaigns. But equally so, you could do the same even with creatives, which you could generate and use in your WhatsApp marketing campaigns right today. So you could also use it there. What we also allow on advertising side is to optimize for your outcomes, for example. So let's say a business says, I want to optimize to get the most purchases or the most conversions happening on my website, right? So what Meta does then is to use signals from users to know which users are more likely to purchase these kinds of products and will therefore display the ads to those users, right? We are soon also moving and looking into bringing this kind of a capability to WhatsApp marketing as well as Messenger marketing. We've made some initial announcements, and there are early tests in that direction as well, where a business could send or upload a list of people they want to reach out to, and Meta AI will essentially look through and optimize so that the business gets the most ROI out of that, right? So it's not optimizing for delivery, but you're mostly optimizing for the actual outcome, which could be driving more sales or generating more qualified leads or whatever that may be. So the applications, I would say, are immense. These are a few things we're currently doing. But one thing I want to say is that even though we might build a lot for our own channels, I think businesses also benefit from this, because at the end of the day, when you get, let's say, a lead from a campaign that you say run on WhatsApp, you can actually follow up with that lead through different channels, right? You actually get their phone number, so you could technically reach out on SMS or some other channel as well, to even A/B test which channels work better for that customer. So I would say that we're not only helping businesses get better at managing their customer data, but also to find insights on how to optimize for the best business ROI.
Thank you, Renisha. I think it's a very fascinating point, right? Like looking at one perspective, which is just generating leads, and on the other hand, talking about conversions, right? Because I get all the organizations are now moving to return on investment. And I'm sure with these platforms, you can always calculate your ROI better, way better than what you could do before. And just picking on there, I have a question for you, Tamir. I know that, with all of these channels which are put together, since, Cequens works hand in hand with Meta, I'm sure that you must be concentrating a lot more on personalization, engagement, especially to build this multi-purpose channels across different channels, whoever is using it. By any chance, can we leverage GenAI as well into these, so that we can make it really strong, and all of the entire omni-channel experience is completed along with GenAI?
Definitely. Great question, Melissa. So one of the things that we want to embed AI in today is how the experience is actually built. And when we say experience, we're looking at the connected experience, because what Renisha nicely put is, today you have an advertising platform, and then you have the messaging, and you have the engagement, and the customer, the online, the offline. All of that together builds the experience. So what we're trying to do today on our side is, we want to make sure that we complete that connected experience, build it for the business, where they correlate what's happening on the advertising platform, and targets between targeting, personalization, making sure the right ideal customer profile scoring, and so on. Embed Gen AI in making sure that they simplify this on our behalf as a business. From there, even take care of very small details in personalization. And like we always said, personalization, it's not about first name, last name. It's not about just sending you a very high level content. It's about understanding your needs, your preferences, your likes and dislikes. From there, if I'm looking into an advertising or a very targeted campaign, I would expect it to be tailored to me with my interests, avoiding the things that I don't like, and my channel of choice with my language of choice. So imagine tailoring the content, especially in the region of Gulf, where we have hundreds of nationalities, different languages, and so on. And we want to make sure that we target the right people with the right content. And we want to make sure that it is done with multilingual approach. Gen AI is helping with that. Add to that the connected experience between the advertising side, driven to the channel, and accordingly building the click to action or moving into the lead conversion cycle. This is where we build or make sure that we capitalize on the Gen AI side. So on our side, we try to say, we want to take care of everything between building the connected experience itself, embedding Gen AI in resolving those minor tasks that might seem little, but it's big in terms of marketing and personalization. And this is how we try to help businesses with the capabilities that we're offering today with Gen AI.
Wow, I mean, that's so insightful, right? Like, Gen AI, right from the omnichannel experience to how you can put it together, makes it like a complete cycle. And building on that, Zafir, a quick question for you, because I'm very curious to hear your thoughts that WebEngage as a whole provides like a very good end-to-end experience. But do you believe, like, with this omnichannel marketing strategies which you put together, you can integrate somewhere an AI-powered chatbot as well to make it like a 360-degree approach?
Yeah, definitely. Good question, Melissa. I think when we talk about omni-channel marketing, we are talking about different channels, and those channels should be connected with each other, right? So to give an example, let's say the journey of a customer starts from one point, let's say from one channel, right? And the
Yeah.
same journey, the same customer, let's say that person is proceeding on the other channels. So it should be connected so that we can provide the best experience, right? And when it comes to chatbots, AI-powered chatbots, I think it's one of the omni-channel, it's one of the channels, right? So it has to be integrated with any retention solutions, right? To give a very basic example, a very basic use case. So let's say you know that I'm very interested, I'm a cycling enthusiast, right? And I'm looking for cycling, let's say, accessories or jerseys. So I start my journey as a customer, I start
Mhm.
my journey on the website, right? And I might be checking the products or the jerseys on the mobile application as well. So the next time I visit the website, for example, the chatbots, the AI-powered chatbots, could be, we can use them as a proactive customer engagement. So by the time I
Mhm.
visit the website, the chatbot, pops up, and then, okay, are you looking for a jersey? So that's how you connect the experiences, right? I think, yeah.
Fantastic. And
Uh,
Zafir, I mean, if you can elaborate a little bit more, because we are now talking in terms of the positive sides of a chatbot, right? The integration,
mhm.
how seamless it could be. But I'm sure with AI being there, with the positives, there are always negatives. There are also challenges, okay?
Yeah.
So do you think there would be some sort of a challenge or maybe some sort of a limitation if we rely too heavily on an AI chatbot as well, especially when it comes to interactions, across?
I mean, yes, if you ask me, definitely yes. I mean, from my opinion, there are some limitations or challenges, right? Because even human to human interaction is not perfect, right? Sometimes we don't understand each other. And imagine that you're speaking with a chatbot, right? So we cannot expect that to be an amazing experience. I mean, we do the best, but I think there will always be how should I put, lack of emotional intelligence. So it should be there. Lack of emotional intelligence will be there. And for the basic queries, I think chatbots can easily handle all of those. But when it comes to complex queries, right, I think chatbots might struggle to support those type of things as well. So I can say that could be one of the challenges or one of the limitations as well. Um, and there is no human touch, right? So the
Yep.
actual human is in touch with a chatbot. So there is no human touch. So I would call, since you rely heavily, very heavily on AI and on that AI chatbot, it could be a challenging because from my perspective, there should always be a human touch, right? Because
Mhm.
sometimes because of the complexity of the queries, right, AI bots will not be able to understand. And when it comes to escalation, like there has to be a point that bots or the AI bots should be escalating to a human, right? For better support or for better experience for the customer. So yeah, I mean, these could be some of the limitations or the challenges that we are facing or we will be facing. But I'm
Mhm.
sure in the future it will be much better, it will be improved. But still, that emotional intelligence and human touch, without those, I think it will be very, very difficult. So my suggestion would be always go with a hybrid approach. So
Yep.
leverage both AI-powered chatbots and along with human agents.
Yep, I definitely agree because this has been my personal experience as well. So I know that most of us use banking services, and when you want to report something or you want to just talk to them, it gets connected to a chatbot. Sometimes it's good because you raise a request and you are done with it. They respond, and the bot has already done its job, which is sometimes helpful. But at some time, you really want to talk to someone. So I completely agree. Having like a complete mix of both makes it very successful, especially for organizations as well, right? Because somewhere you save on cost, correct? Because otherwise, with so many human agents, you are paying really heavily. So with the mix,
Yeah.
you're still saving on cost, very, very high time. And at the same time, you still have bots to do most of your job, like the repetitive questions. And a quick one there for you, Tamir. Would you want to add something over this? Because you've been integrating across different AI chatbots. Would you say like a mix of this approach would be something which will be successful for organizations from your experience?
Definitely, definitely. Um, there is no one magic formula to solve everything. So every time that you need to tailor it. And like Zafar shared, it might be complex for certain bots to actually understand complex query. It will be hard for them. And this is why engineers do the best in making sure, for example, under Gen AI, to optimize the prompt, to optimize what's happening behind the scenes. And that's why we want to make sure that we always break down the bigger problem into smaller tasks to help bots
Right.
actually understand better. But the capabilities that's being offered today is beyond the limits that we also expected. Because once we see a model today, in a couple of months, you're going to see the newer one. And we're using this existing one to improve the next version. And in order for that advancement to keep happening in place, we want to make sure that we're very careful to make sure that the human touch is there. So this is where the persona of the bot comes in place. This is where, for example, when we create certain bots or for our customers, we want to make sure that the persona has that little bit of a human touch. I want to buy a gift. Oh, that's so lovely. Let me help you with that. And once we get to the end, by the way, you told me it's a gift. Should I add gift wrapping with that as well? And
Yeah.
that's the touch that people look for. And bots are very automated. The more that we try to humanize it, we want to make sure that we always have the capability for people to talk to agents. And that's why the connectivity between the automation as a bot and the failover to a human agent is always there. This is where digital contact center comes in place. And we want to make sure that we optimize the agent responsibility and routing. Last but not least, we also want to make sure that AI is not only about that customer-facing channel. We want customers to be able to feel comfortable with it, but we can also embed it within the cycle itself. And this is where we iterate and understand the queries that is happening, the concerns, the tickets, aggregate all of this data together and make sure that the right solution is presented for the agent to communicate with the customer or directly to the customer through that chatbot. This is how we envision Gen AI to make sure that it's not only looking or being humanized, but it addresses the concerns that we all have today, like everyone has shared already in the panel.
Thank you, Tamir. And while we are touch basing all of these challenges, right, and we're diving deeper, I had a question for you, Renisha. I know you mentioned you guys are looking at integrating the entire advertising campaigns. But the question was, how do you solve something which is like privacy concerns, right? Because now we are talking about WhatsApp, we're talking about Facebook. How do you look at running these sort of a campaigns, but also managing the privacy part of it?
So one thing that we do on privacy is make sure that consumers know exactly what data is being used and for what. It's available, of course, in our privacy policies, but what we've also started doing, like I mentioned earlier, was to have system cards which explain exactly what is changing if we're doing something different. So, for example, recently we started using in the UK the user data to train our AI models. And so when we did that launch for all UK subscribers, they got a message saying, or they will get a message as it rolls out, saying, your data is being used and you can either opt in or opt out from that. So one part of building responsibly with AI is making sure that users know what their rights are and what is this going to help them with. Of course, I think that in general, there's been a lot of debate about privacy across the world, governments have been extremely concerned about this. We've seen a lot of privacy regulations roll out globally. And of course, we're working very closely with governments across the world and policymakers to help them understand how our systems operate. So when we say WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted, we mean that, right? Like WhatsApp has no way to actually see the messages that are going through between the business and the consumer or between two consumers when they're talking to each other. And what that means when we have end-to-end encryption is taking care of a user's privacy needs, but governments also have certain other needs and requirements where it's a matter of national security and things like that, where they don't always see eye to eye with us on this, and we have to
Mhm.
continue to advocate for user privacy with policymakers as well. And we continue to do this throughout. But for users, of course, we just try to make it as transparent as possible through our surfaces. Even when we launched the WhatsApp privacy policy, for instance, a few years ago, we started putting in these screens that would come up on WhatsApp, or even like we started using the WhatsApp status to actually inform people about here's what the privacy policy actually means for you. So that's the only way to be open and transparent with people so that they know where they stand. And frankly, I think we shouldn't be afraid of, and this is my personal opinion, we shouldn't be afraid of our data being used, because a lot of times it's all being used for our benefit, and all of this is
Yeah.
largely aggregated data. It's anonymized. We don't store personally identifiable information of users anywhere. It's all hashed out so that you can't really say that, oh, this particular individual person who can be identified by this identity number in this country. We can't get down to that level. It's all aggregated in terms of segments and cohorts. And that therein, I think, lies the balance between, yes, you want to personalize it to the individual, but you also want to make sure that the individual's rights are protected. So, um, of course, this remains an area where we continue to work with people in the space to define what this means. But on our side, we try to just be transparent.
I completely agree, Renisha, because data is everything. But along with
Yeah,
data also comes improvement, right? Like imagine, at our perspective, you use Instagram. If you don't capture the data, how will you customize it for me? How can
yeah,
Netflix customize, like Zafir said, something for you for the things which you like for your
yeah,
taste? If I don't capture that data, right? But making sure that we are still adhering to the compliances put together, maybe by the
yeah.
government from each of the apps is very, very important. And I'm glad that you covered that. Um, with this, we are almost done with our entire session today. And I just want to thank you, all of those panelists, and even our audience to come, stay, and share their valuable insights. We have covered a lot of things today, and I'm sure that with this, we've all got like a very deep understanding on how AI is actually shaping the future, right? Right from different standpoint of personalization to building experiences to having like an omni-channel approach, everything end to end, right? AI sits on top of it, and it's like the next big thing which we are all looking forward to. So thank you so much for attending this, and thank you so much for sharing your insights. And with this, over to you, Harshit, to pick it up further. Thank you so much, guys.
Super. That was very, very insightful, Melissa. Thank you so much. Um, People, we will now open the floor for some Q&A. While I think we covered a lot of things in a lot of good detail already. If you have some questions, please drop them in the chat right now, and we'll take a couple of them right now. Apart from that, all of our email IDs are available, and you can reach out to us. We'll also be reaching out to you with the session recording in case you want to recap something. But yeah, if you want to know more about what either of us has to offer, we'd be happy to connect one on one. For now, I welcome some questions in the chat. Please drop them right now. You can also, of course, always send your questions with email and we can reach out to you. Thanks, Emma. Thank you for your comments. I think we have a question from Ruhi who is asking, how do you see AI changing the landscape of customer service in the next 5 years? Would any of our speakers like to take that?
Sure. From our side, I
Yes,
believe
Samir.
most of the cases that's happening today with Gen AI is customer service is drastically changing. So one of the most important items in customer service is you want to understand the sentiment of the customer, and you want to make sure that you take the right decisions there. So let's say you want to do a quality check for 30,000 hours of recordings that are happening for your contact center. If that's the case, then you need an army to actually listen to that 30,000 hours and then evaluate which is the agent, which is the customer, what's happening, and so on. But think of Gen AI as your right-hand assistant in doing this. So you push the 30,000 hours to the Gen AI. The Gen AI platform analyzes the data, isolates who's or identifies who is the customer, who's the agent, what's the issue, how was the sentiment, was it solved or not? And then at the end, aggregates all of this data into performance metrics of how many were repeated cases, what were the agents that had top achiever, who were the lowest achiever, and so on. And from there, this would drastically change the way that you take care of your contact center and the customer service as well. Because we don't want only to think about customer service as a contact center. We want to think of it as the engagement cycle between us and the customer. Because if you remember at the end, between lead, convert, retain, this is under the retention cycle of the customer care. So it covers between the virtual assistant, the agents, and the experiences that we're offering to our end customers as well, post the sales cycle. I hope that covers it.
Super. Thanks, Amir. I think that definitely gives a flavor of where this is heading for customer service. I see another question coming from Shubham, and Shubham wants to know how can companies effectively measure the ROI of their AI investment. And I think while Renisha shared a lot of data points, and when Meta shared the data point, we know it's super backed by a lot of testing and a lot of diverse data sets. I think at a business level, Zafar would love to probably take your input, and you can talk about some of the control group features that they could apply. The question is, how can companies measure the ROI on their AI investments? Would love to hear your inputs.
Yeah, sure. I think the best or the easiest approach or to test this is to use TG versus CG, right? Which we also do offer to our existing customers. So basically, you create a target group and then you create a control group. And let's say you would like to use one of the AI components, right? So you reach out to 90% of your total audience, and then 10% is left as a control group. So you basically measure and you can see if this AI feature has made any impact on the revenue or has any impact on the conversion rates. I think that could be one way of measuring the performance of the AI
Got it.
investment.
Super, super. Awesome. We have one more question, which I think we could take right now. We have a couple of more minutes. This one comes from Yara, who talks about we want to hear a success story of using AI-powered chatbots in customer satisfaction. Renisha, in case you have any case study from a brand, or if anybody else, Melissa, Tamer, Zafar, if anyone of you wants to share, please, the floor is open. I'm sure we can take one or two examples, not just one. So yeah, please.
We can share from our side that one very nice story that was with a retailer. They embedded the chatbot experience with their commerce model. And during the life cycle of developing that, they had a biggest case of not only customer retention, but the cross-sell and upsell. Their biggest issue was their ticket size were not that big. And they wanted to make sure that not only customer retention, but they wanted to increase the ticket size or the basket size, let's call it. So when customers came in, they added items to cart and they did click buy and that's it. What we added with the chatbot experience, and this is where things got interesting, is we started evaluating all of the previous history. And then we started seeing correlations. So if all of us went to the retail shop, each of us has different items on their basket. Eventually, there are some relationship between that. So it started going into recommendation real time, according to what items that they have added to the cart. And we started with one, would you like to recommend a complete basket? And this is where the actual intelligence kicks in and it does recommendation of that entire basket. Or while they're adding items to the cart, the AI starts immediately identifying the cross-sell and upsell opportunities. If you had one item, it's going to tell you, by the way, did you know that you can add the bundle 2 for 20% less? That's one. Second, you forgot to add, for example, water or juice or healthy snacks to your basket, because most of people who are getting your basket are getting that part as well. And this is a success story that we've seen with that retailer. And accordingly, I believe the accuracy rate exceeded 90% of that cross-sell upsell opportunities, and they saw an immediate increase up to 2 and 3 times bigger in basket size. And this is a very nice experience that we keep sharing as well.
I really like that, Tamir. I think speaking to somebody else also who works here in Q-commerce in India, and they were sharing how people who buy ashtrays are also the people who buy a lot of other cleaning products, and hence the AI helps out in upselling a lot of detergent, a lot of like broomsticks and all of those things. So yeah, data at the back of all of this helps a lot. Vinisha, over to you.
Yeah, I also have a good one from a travel company. They're mostly across EU in many countries. And so usually during the time when people are planning for summer vacations and summer holidays, they get like a really big bump up on their call center inbound volumes, where people are looking to speak to someone to finalize a travel package. And so because they couldn't literally cope with the volumes, and in some countries they didn't even have like a call center number essentially yet. So what they did was they actually put on their website like the WhatsApp chatbot number. And so anyone who had reached that stage where they just wanted, had almost made the decision but wanted to know something more, they just redirected to the WhatsApp AI chatbot. And then they just got the chatbot to actually, solve and answer all of the questions, resulted in really significantly higher booking rates compared to just organic website bookings. And they had, I don't remember the numbers, but they had good numbers on their CSAT scores as well.
I think taking care of seasonal uplifts is definitely a very good use case of implementing AI to also keep down your costs. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Any speaker wants to share any other example before it seems we wrap up for today? All right, super. People, do we have any last question from the audience? Very interesting questions, audience. Appreciate that. Glad you were listening and had these follow-ups. Any last questions? All right, I think that's a wrap for today's webinar then. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Tamer. Thank you, Zafir. Thank you, Renisha, for putting this together. I think the entire team has been very excited to put this together, and I'm excited to also distribute a lot of these learnings further to all of our socials. So yeah, thank you for those who joined in. People, if you are still here, if you have a question, you can still post it, and we can reply to them via email. And if you'd like to know what Meta Business or WebEngage or Cequens are offering, you can always connect with us via our website, via our email IDs. So yeah, thank you so much once again for today, and we will take your leave. Thank you, Ankita. Appreciate that.
Cequens. Simple solutions, deeper connections.